Hey, I would like to invite you to join our goal at Patreon. If we reach 50 Patreons, I will play the entirety of the 1000 Miles Championship in my Gran Turismo 4 randomizer playthrough live here on YouTube. I am doing this full time, either making videos or streaming, and starting at $3 a month, you'll enjoy early access to my videos along with some extra benefits on my Discord server. Click the link in the description to visit my Patreon. With that said, I hope you enjoy the next video. While Gran Turismo 4 is known for its endless car roster, one of the most important brands in the world is missing, Lamborghini. Or is it? Meet the Cizeta V16T, a monster created out of the original prototype design for the Lamborghini Diablo. As the name suggests, this car has a 16-cylinder engine mounted transversally. Sadly, it wasn't meant to be and only a handful of units were produced, leaving us with a car which only a handful of people know and probably the only car with 4 pop-up headlights. That alone deserves alike. So, how does it drive? It turns out the V16T is really awkward to drive. Even the AI can't drive it at all. I found out the hard way as I got the Cizeta as a prize car during my Gran Turismo 4 randomizer, which I stream right here on YouTube, where I spent an hour trying to win a race with it. After my experience, I managed to discover which are its flaws. Its massive weight and size make it handle like a tank, meaning it doesn't turn too well. For low speed corners, you have to take them way slower than most cars, inevitably losing time. For faster corners, you'll understeer off the track compared to most cars, forcing you to brake for turns which you usually shouldn't. The first upgrade for this car is reducing weight, lots of it. In stock guise, this wedge-shaped tugboat weighs 1,640 kilograms, or 3,616 in freedom units. However, I did add an extra bit of ballast on the rear axle to improve weight distribution on corner exit as I accelerate. While reducing weight is always good, in order to improve the Cizeta's handling, I have to tune its suspension. After some trial and error, I made this setup which removes some of the understeer experience in corner entry. This is achieved by making the front suspension softer than the rear. Spring rates here are the most important, as going too stiff will handicap weight transfer, which is vital to make this car drivable. A good suspension setup is the key factor to transform the handling of a car, so feel free to use mine whenever you drive this car, you won't regret it. Another vital detail to improve handling is a limited slip differential, which I equipped and fine-tuned. While I have improved the drivability of this car to a degree, it suffers on another vital area, gearing. It has atrocious, useless long gears paired with a massive delay when shifting gears. Despite having 600 horsepower on demand, these gears are absurd and need to be shortened. I used a trick which is conveniently called the gear trick. First, push the final drive all the way to the right, the highest number possible. Then move the auto slider all the way back to 1. Then move the final gear appropriately. For this car I had to run a high final drive and shorten gears individually to improve acceleration and make it useful in most circuits. Here are the numbers if you want to copy them. Now there's a controversial part of this setup. I decided to enable traction control. I know, but before you start throwing shoes at me, I have a good reason. For one, Gran Turismo 4 doesn't like bumps at all, and traction control seems to tame the effects of these bumps in circuits like the Nurburgring, which I will visit later on. At the same time, it helps with wheel spin in corner exit, as these powerful cars have wheel spin even on third gear, making them next to undrivable on a competitive setting. However, there's something I couldn't fix. It's god-awful brakes. It takes ages to come to a stop, and this is a big problem as it gets up to speed quite fast. I can only fix this while driving, braking earlier than usual. With that out of the way, let's start racing. I decided to start with the championship, which unlocks the Cizeta V16 and can appear as an opponent in some grids. The Supercar Championship. The toughest race takes place at Infinite Raceway, a technical track composed by wide, sweeping turns which makes for the best proving grounds for my upgrades. As the race starts, I have to get past these lower cars which are nothing but roadblocks for the player, especially in circuits with rolling starts where the faster opponents start on the lead and get to build massive, comfortable gaps with the player. I have to brake earlier than them in order to make the turns, but I really have a strong exit out of each corner which allows me to recover some of the lost time. With the spiker behind me, I begin the chase towards the faster cars on this pack, the Tommy Kaira ZZ2 and Volkswagen W12 on the lead. After a few corners, I'm close enough to make my move on the ZZ2. What do you mean this green thing doesn't count as tarmac. As the second lap starts, I start my chase on the Volkswagen. This is one, if not the fastest car which can appear as an opponent. It has excellent handling, speed and acceleration. I start the second lap going a bit wide on the first corner, touching the grass and losing more speed than I would have liked. These sort of mistakes are common with the V16 as I forget how much grip the front wheels really have, and I push harder than I really can. The key to make this car rotate lies on lifting the throttle and turning. It's different from any other car and it takes some getting used to. My chase on the Volkswagen continues as we approach the final set of corners. We are side by side and I really have to be careful as the wrong move will end with a spin on my end. After a bit of back and forth between us, I managed to take first place. Thing is, I have to hold this lead until the end of the race. Given how I need to drive better, I've been using a different camera for these races. Do let me know if you like it on the comment section below. The third lap goes past without major incidents as I managed to clock my fastest lap yet and build a healthy lap with the Volkswagen behind me. My efforts go through the window shortly after I start the fourth lap, losing more time than I would like as I try to save the V16 from losing control. I am sure some of you have noticed I try to remain on third gear whenever I have to tackle corners. The reason behind this is tire wear. First and second gear trigger traction control and my rear tires suffer from it. While it is slower to drive through these corners in third, it's vital if I want to finish the race with these tires. I only drop into second whenever I need the extra speed, either to overtake or defend from an opponent. My mistake was expensive as the Volkswagen gained a second on me as I start the fifth lap, where I once again leave the track briefly and lose more time. My tires are starting to feel the wear at this stage and I can't push, making my situation worse as it will be difficult to recover first place if I lost it now. The Volkswagen is right behind me and the pressure gets to me as I miss my braking zone for the next corner. Thankfully, it's a section with tarmac so I managed to recover quickly, until the Volkswagen pushes me off as I'm braking. Of course I lose first place to the incompetent AI who loves to crash into you at the worst moment possible, so I floor it, using the V16's superior acceleration, and I managed to start the final lap right past the Volkswagen. Only one lap stands between me and victory. While I managed to hold first place through the first section, the Volkswagen decides it's time to keep crashing into me, but I hold my ground just fine until we reach the final corner of the circuit, where I move towards the inside to avoid being tapped yet again, but the Volkswagen goes for the throw, securing first place right before the end. I refuse to lose like this and the Cizeta agrees with me, as I managed to power my way out of the final corner and overtake the Volkswagen before the finish line, winning the race on the final second. That was so close. The next race I decided to attempt was New York. While the V16 is fast, the terrible brakes are a considerable handicap in the circuit, where braking distances matter given the two massive straights it has. We meet an old rival in 5th place and I take my revenge, using it to brake as the race starts. How does it feel to be pushed, Volkswagen? I make my way past the Ford GT and towards the leading cars, a Nissan R390 which doesn't have enough speed to keep up and resorts to crashing into me as I brake, and the leading Pagani Zonda which goes straight into a wall, granting me the lead. Once I start learning the braking zones for the V16, New York becomes a showcase for the crushing pace this beast has. Once the gears are fixed, you're left with a car with brutal acceleration which leaves everything else in the dust. There is a bit of a downside. It seems to struggle once you reach a certain speed. It feels this car has terrible aerodynamics and it becomes a brick. However, it has enough pace to destroy the competition and win the race without many incidents, outside a wall tap on lap 4. However, there's a bigger test for the Cizeta ahead. I decided to take this to the European Championship and tackle two of the toughest tracks in Gran Turismo 4. What better place to start than the green hell itself? 2 laps at the Nurburgring are enough to break any car and your sanity. I had to raise the ride height and soften the springs as much as possible to cope with the bumpy German circuit. I managed to close the gap between my opponents as we hit an open section where the V16 gets to put its power down. It's rather scary to drive this car fast, even more so when I can feel the bumps ready to send me off into the grass. My opponents are all packed together, which is good as I'm concerned about the SLR McLaren, which is one of the best cars in the hands of the AI. It's busy fighting with an Audi Nuvolari, a concept car which has a striking resemblance to the Audi A5. I join these two as the leading Lotus decides to get rotated. This slow section works in my favor as I take first place. For some bizarre reason, I believe the Audi is on my right side, so I go straight into the grass, a mistake I managed to save myself from. It goes to show how difficult it is to drive this car, where I'm constantly being too careful through the entire race. Driving a car with bad brakes on the Nurburgring isn't an experience I would recommend to anyone. I admit I never felt this uncomfortable driving in Gran Turismo 4. While I managed to build a small gap with my opponents, I throw it away as one of my wheels touches the grass while braking, and the Cizeta goes off straight into a barrier. This, paired with the fact I'm terrible in the sections past the carousel, allows my opponents to catch up. Once again, the handling of the Cizeta plays against me before a braking zone, forcing me to brake and lose control. While I didn't crash, it was another massive time loss which didn't help my case. The Audi manages to overtake me shortly after as I place another wheel off the tarmac, with the SLR following shortly after. I admit that one was a mistake on my end as I was trying to defend from the SLR. Even the Lotus manages to overtake me as we enter the main straight. In the end, I lost 2 positions trying to defend 1, totally among the best race I ever made. My relief comes in the shape of this near endless final straight, where once again the V16 is unleashed and starts to recover the lost ground. The Elise returns to my rearview mirror as quickly as it appeared, and I'm left to catch the Audi and the SLR. I managed to clear the first one without any issues, left to catch the SLR as the second lap starts. I managed to maintain my distance through the first section of the track, which is good as I was expecting to go off and throw this race away as I have done before. I have to say, jumping with a mid-engine supercar like I'm driving through a rally stage never gets old. Given how wide this car is, the road around me feels very narrow, and it gets even worse when there's another car in front of me. Finding room to overtake this SLR proves to be a challenge until I squeeze past with 2 wheels on the grass, and even jumping while overtaking. Given I wasn't expecting to make this overtake, I nervously hold my lead and brake really early to the point where I'm pushed by the silver arrow behind me. With a bit of back and forth, I take my revenge after being pushed off, and the SLR takes the barriers of the Nurburgring. Hope you like the taste of metal. After this battle, I managed to hold the lead until the end and win the race. The Cizeta has conquered the green hell, but it wants more, and so do I. Welcome to Les Arts, home of the 24 hours of Le Mans, another temple of speed where the Cizeta gets to unleash its true power. It has both set of headlights up. We meet a returning character, the SLR, who returns to conquer the French circuit along with an E55 AMG. Those who drive sedans have extra respect points in this channel, just like the BMW M5 who's leading the race. As godlike as the B10 is, it has nothing on a B16, and I managed to take the lead, even if I had to break a turn before the next corner so I have any hopes of turning in. I have to admit, after sorting through the pack, not even the SLR had a chance to catch up. They were all left in the dust as Les Arts benefits cars with really high top speed and acceleration. The only saving grace for my opponents was the fact this race took place at the variant with chicanes. Given the Cizeta has conquered both of these legendary circuits, one could say it has proven to be good. But we aren't a normal YouTube channel, we do things different here. With a set of slick tires, I take the Cizeta to Tsukuba after a day of rain. If that wasn't enough, my opponent is a Toyota Minolta. Yes, I'm out of my mind. Who else does these sort of races? I have to be really careful because even if I look at the Minolta, I'll have a 5-second penalty. I have enough speed to hold my ground against the Toyota and make the overtake right at the first corner. Yes, I'm really doing this. Keep in mind this Cizeta has god-awful brakes and this is a wet circuit. The effects are amplified even further, but the Minolta struggles as well, allowing me to build a sizable gap with it. I managed to beat the Minolta with a 20-second gap thanks to a wet compact circuit. Another circuit which is a complete nightmare belongs to the same country as the Cizeta, Città d'Aria, a narrow circuit located inside an old Italian town where a Mitsubishi Lancer rally car is waiting for me. I have to overtake the Lancer as soon as the race starts because there's no room to overtake anywhere else. With a V16 at my disposal, it doesn't present a problem. What does present a problem are the walls. The circuit is very narrow and a single wall tap makes me lose control, turning me into nothing but a mid-engine roadblock for the Lancer which crashes into me. It has nowhere to go, meaning I maintain first place despite this mistake. Truly a Città d'Aria moment, to the point where it repeats in the following lap. This time the Lancer overtakes me and I had to chase it and get penalized for looking at it. God, I hate these penalties. I lost my mind on stream with them and I will lose my mind with them here again. With better acceleration off the line, the Lancer loses the lead and I managed to win the race, slamming into a wall as I crossed the finish line. Given how I conquer some of the most difficult scenarios for the Cizeta, I think I've proven my point. A good setup can save some cars. It takes a lot of time and effort, but the rewards are worth it. You should start playing with the sliders. You might end with a better car than you ever hoped for. In the same way, I never hoped this channel will reach 3000 subscribers. The least I can do is thank you you all for supporting these efforts of mine. In no small part, I released this video to let you all know we will be celebrating this milestone with a Gran Turismo 4 randomizer livestream, doing endurance races with this same yellow Cizeta V16. If you don't want to miss this descent into madness, you should subscribe to my channel. If you are new here, I already have a few videos and livestreams on this channel which you should watch, you won't regret it. And if you want to see more of this madness, you should join my Patreon. Starting at $3 a month, you will be able to watch my videos before anyone else, along with extra privileges on my Discord server. We also have a Patreon goal, where if we reach 50 Patreons, I will play the entirety of the 1000 Miles Championship live here on YouTube, a set of endurance races with classic cars. We're going to be here for a while, it's going to be a blast. You can join my current Patreons by clicking the link in the description, and we thank them as follows: our amateur racers, professional racers, and world champions: Blind Dev, See What Happens Racing UK, Whiskey Tuesday, Sundere Kiselli, Enzo Lasonieri, Raziel, Hunter Kaufman, and Josh Big. I hope to see you soon in our 3000 subscriber celebration. Take care and bye for now.